I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 5 years now. We got engaged last year, and I was honestly happy. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we had a good thing going. We were planning our wedding, talking about a future, and I trusted her completely. That's why this whole mess hit me like a freight train. It started with little things. Lisa was acting a little distant, more irritable than usual, snapping at me over small stuff. She'd cancel plans last minute or say she was busy with work. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured she was just stressed, or maybe she was tired of the wedding planning. She's always been a bit bitchy, honestly, quick to get defensive or dismissive, but I thought maybe that was just her personality. Still, something in the back of my mind was nagging me. Call it instinct, call it paranoia, but I kept noticing tiny inconsistencies. One night, I decided to check her phone. I know, trust is supposed to be the foundation, but I'm not naive. I saw a few messages, nothing explicit, just some flirty banter with her coworker, Jake. At first, I thought maybe I was overthinking it, but then I noticed she'd been deleting messages later that night, and she was unusually secretive about her phone. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd brush it off, change the subject. That's when I started to feel like something was seriously off. Then last week, I finally decided to be more direct. I asked her about Jake. She rolled her eyes, said he was just a coworker, a guy who's always hitting on her, but in a dismissive way, like I shouldn't care. I pressed her for details, and she snapped at me, told me I was being paranoid, said I was jealous and insecure. She's good at lying. She's bitchy and manipulative enough to make you doubt your own instincts. But I knew she was hiding something. Things got worse when I noticed her changing her habits. She'd come home late, always claiming client meetings or late tower work stuff. But her story didn't add up. I even saw her sneaking out of the house one night, looking over her shoulder like she was scared someone might see her. That night I followed her, stupid, I know, but I had to see for myself. She went to a hotel downtown, met Jake, I guess. I saw her go in with her own eyes, saw her with my own eyes. It was like a punch to the gut. I watched her sneak into that hotel room with him. They stayed for hours. I managed to get a picture of her sneaking in, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My wife, Lisa, who's always been so bitchy and quick to dismiss my feelings, was with another man. Not just any man, but Jake, her coworker. My mind spun. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face, pretend she was at some business trip while she was with him? I felt a mix of betrayal, rage, and heartbreak all at once. It was like I'd been slapped in the face, then kicked in the stomach. I didn't sleep that night. Just kept staring at the photo, trying to process what I'd seen. It's like everything I believed in was shattered. She told me she loved me, that she was committed, and it turns out she was cheating on me right before our wedding. I kept thinking about all the times she was bitchy, how she dismissed my concerns, how she lied about where she was. It's like I was living with a different person, someone I didn't even recognize anymore. I don't know what to do next. Do I confront her? Do I leave? Do I ask her why? I'm just so angry, so hurt, and honestly, I feel stupid for trusting her at all. This isn't how I wanted my life to go. I thought I was building something real, but now I feel like I was just fooling myself. So the next day, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My mind was racing with all these thoughts: anger, betrayal, confusion. I kept staring at my phone, debating whether or not to call her out immediately or to wait and gather my thoughts. Honestly, I was frozen, unsure of what my next move should be. But I knew I couldn't keep pretending I didn't see what I saw. I couldn't go on pretending everything was fine when I knew the truth. I decided I had to confront her, but I also wanted to see how she'd react if I played it cool first. I texted her, acting like I didn't know anything, asking her how her work trip went. She responded quickly, as usual, with her typical dismissiveness. It was fine, busy as always, just work stuff. That was her favorite line, so vague, so dismissive, but I saw her typing, then deleting, then typing again. She was nervous. That was enough for me. Later that evening, I made sure I was home early. I wanted her to think I was clueless, that I didn't know. I waited until she was in the kitchen, pretending to be busy with dinner. Then I just threw it out there. "Lisa, I need to talk to you about something." She froze for a second, then gave me one of her bitchy smirks. "What's up?" she said, voice flat. It was obvious she was trying to act like I wasn't about to ruin her little game. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, I saw the photos, you sneaking into that hotel room with Jake. Last night, while you told me you were on a business trip. Her face flickered like she was caught off guard, but then she quickly recovered with that dismissive attitude. Oh, that, she said, rolling her eyes. You're crazy, you're just being insecure. She laughed a little like it was some big joke. You seriously think I'd cheat on you before our wedding? I wasn't buying it. I felt my heart pounding, but I kept my voice steady. You were with him, Lisa. I saw the pictures. Don't lie to me now. She scoffed. Pictures can be manipulated. Maybe you're seeing what you want to see. Maybe you're just jealous because I'm busy at work. Her words were so full of venom. It was like she was throwing everything she had at me, trying to deflect and deny. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I could see the truth in her eyes. She knew she was caught. I could tell she was trying to convince herself it wasn't real, that she could lie her way out of it. But I wasn't going to let her. I told her I didn't believe her, that I knew she was lying, and that I deserved honesty. Her face turned even bitchier, her voice sharper. Oh, so now I'm a liar? That's rich coming from you, she snapped. You've been acting weird lately, too. Maybe you're the one cheating. That was her way of flipping everything around, making me the bad guy. I felt my fists clench. All the pain and anger boiled over. I told her I didn't want to hear her bullshit anymore. I told her I saw her, that I wasn't going to pretend I didn't. I asked her what her excuse was if she had won. She just rolled her eyes again, then stormed out of the room, saying she was done talking. That night, I lay awake again, replaying everything. I kept thinking about how she lied so easily, how she dismissed my feelings. I thought about all the times she was bitchy, how she always dismissed me like I was some inconvenience. And now I knew that she'd been sneaking around behind my back, probably for weeks. I felt stupid for trusting her, for believing she was committed. The worst part was how she's always been so quick to throw her attitude around, so dismissive, like she was better than everyone else. That bitchy attitude, her sneering, her lies, it all made sense now. She's just a manipulative, unfaithful woman who thought she could get away with it. I couldn't believe I was even asking myself what to do next. The truth was staring me in the face. I had to decide whether I was going to forgive her or cut her loose. Honestly, I didn't see a future with her anymore, not after this. But I also knew I wasn't ready to make that decision right away. Right now, I was just trying to breathe, trying to process the fact that my wife cheated on me before our wedding, lied about it, and then had the nerve to deny it. I felt crushed, angry, and betrayed all at once, and I knew my world was about to change forever. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and couldn't focus on anything other than what I'd seen and what it meant. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her sneaking into that hotel with Jake. Every time I looked at my phone, I wondered if she was still lying, still hiding things. I started questioning everything, her words, her actions, the way she looked at me like I was a fool. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time I wanted to be prepared. I didn't want to just yell or accuse without evidence. I wanted to do this right, to get to the bottom of her lies once and for all. So I started digging. I checked everything, her phone, her emails, her social media. I even hired a private investigator just to be sure. It wasn't about spying. It was about knowing the full truth, the kind that sinks into your bones and refuses to let go. The investigator came back with more evidence than I expected. They had photos of her meeting Jake late at night, going into that hotel with him, and even some text messages, flirty, suggestive stuff. She told me she was at a business trip, but these texts painted a very different picture. She called him babe, said she missed him, and mentioned how we're almost there. That feeling of betrayal just kept building. Now it wasn't just about the night she sneaked away. It was about months of lies, manipulation, and deception. I felt the anger boiling up again, but this time I knew I had to confront her with everything I knew. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't have the proof. I waited until she was home alone, and I called her into the living room. She was caught off guard, her eyes narrowing, that bitchy smirk creeping back onto her face. "What do you want, Mike?" she said, crossing her arms. "You already know I was with Jake, so what's the point?" I looked straight at her and laid out everything, the texts, the photos, the investigator's report. "This," I said, holding up the evidence, "is what you've been hiding. You lied to me about your business trips, about where you've been. You've been sneaking around with Jake. How long has this been going on?" Her face twisted into a mix of anger and annoyance. "Oh, so now I'm a cheat," she spat. "You're the one acting crazy, spying on me, accusing me of stuff I didn't do. Maybe you're the one with issues." I was done with her denial. "Lisa," I said calmly but firmly, "I saw her with my own eyes. I saw her sneaking into that hotel with Jake. You lied right to my face every step of the way, and I'm done pretending I don't know the truth." Her expression hardened. "You're overreacting. You always blow things out of proportion. Maybe I need to be with someone who doesn't accuse me of stuff I didn't do." It was like she was trying to turn everything around, make me the bad guy, but I wasn't falling for it anymore. The pain was deep, but I knew I had to be honest with myself. I told her I couldn't stay in this relationship, knowing she'd been unfaithful, lying, manipulating me all along. I said I wanted her to pack her things and leave. She looked at me like I just punched her in the face. "Fine," she snapped. "Go ahead and ruin everything, but don't think I'll be the one taking the blame for this." As she stormed out of the room, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I was finally free from her lies, but the pain of betrayal still cut deep. I kept replaying all the moments I'd trusted her, all the times I'd overlooked her bitchy attitude or her dismissive tone, thinking maybe I was just overreacting. Now I knew the truth. She'd been cheating on me with Jake for months. That realization hit me harder than anything, more than her sneaking out that night, more than the lies. I'd lost my partner, my future wife, the person I thought I knew, and I was left with a question I couldn't answer. What now? Do I try to fix this? Do I forgive her? Or do I walk away and start over? Honestly, I didn't have the answer yet. All I knew was that I couldn't trust her anymore. Not after everything I saw, everything I found out. The girl I loved turned out to be something entirely different, the kind of person who sneaks around, lies, and manipulates until she gets what she wants. And now, I had to decide how I was going to deal with the aftermath. After she left, I just sat there in silence, staring at the door she had stormed out of. The house suddenly felt too quiet, like it was mourning with me. I kept thinking about everything, the lies, the sneaking around, the endless hours she spent with Jake. It all felt like a sick joke. I'd been played. I thought about how I had trusted her, how I believed in our future, only to find out she had been betraying me from the start. I knew I couldn't just let this go. I needed to think about what to do next, but it wasn't easy. My mind kept darting between anger and sadness, between wanting revenge and just wanting her to disappear from my life. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious, more furious than I'd ever been. How could she be so bitchy and manipulative? How could she lie so effortlessly? It was like she was a different person, someone I didn't even recognize. I decided I needed some space to think, some time alone to process everything, so I went for a walk. I wandered through the neighborhood trying to clear my head, but every step I took was heavy. I kept replaying the images of her sneaking into that hotel, her sneer, her dismissiveness. Every detail burned in my mind. And then I started thinking about how I wanted to handle this. Should I confront her again? Should I call her? Or should I just cut her out of my life entirely? While I was walking, I remembered her words, how she always played the victim, how she dismissed my feelings, how she acted like she was better than everyone else. That bitchy attitude of hers. It all made sense now. She was always so quick to dismiss my concerns, so dismissive of my feelings. She liked to manipulate, to twist things around so she'd be the victim. That's exactly what she was doing now, trying to turn everything around and make me look like the bad guy. She's good at lying, at covering her tracks, at pretending she's the victim. I also thought about Jake, what he must be feeling now that I knew the truth. Honestly, I didn't care about him. He was just another piece of the puzzle, another person who got played by her. But I kept wondering, what was she telling him? Did she tell him she loved him? Did she tell him she was in love just so she could cheat and lie? It made me sick to think about how easily she lied, how she used those words like weapons to manipulate everyone around her. After a while, I realized I had to make a choice. I could go down the path of revenge, make her life miserable, expose her to everyone, make her regret what she did. Or I could just walk away, pretend I never saw anything and try to forget her. But deep down, I knew I couldn't do that. I was too hurt, too angry. I wanted her to see what she lost, what she threw away with her lies and her bitchy attitude. To me, that was the only way she'd understand the gravity of what she did. So I decided to plan my next move carefully. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time I'd do it on my terms. I'd tell her I knew everything, that I had proof, and that she couldn't deny the truth anymore. And then I'd decide whether I wanted to rebuild what we had or finally cut ties for good. Whatever I chose, I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo anymore. I had to face the reality of what she was, an unfaithful, manipulative woman who thought she could lie her way out of everything. As I headed back home, I felt a strange calm mixed with a storm of emotions. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing. I would no longer be the fool who believed in fairy tales. I would take control of my life, even if it meant ending everything with her. Because honestly, I'd rather be alone than be with someone who lied to me, cheated on me, and treated me like I was nothing. That was the moment I realized that my self-respect had to come first, no matter how much it hurt. The next few days were the hardest of my life. I kept replaying everything, her sneaking out the texts, the hotel room, her dismissive attitude, and I felt like I was caught in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Every time I thought about her, I felt a mixture of rage and deep sadness. I knew I had to confront her again, but I wanted to be calm, strategic. No more jumping to conclusions or losing my temper. I needed to be clear-headed, because whatever I said or did next would shape the future of everything I thought I knew. Finally, I decided I'd had enough of the waiting and wondering. I called her. When she answered, her voice was still that same bitchy tone, like she thought she was above it all. I told her I wanted to meet, that I needed to talk face to face. She hesitated for a moment, then said she'd come over later. I was surprised she didn't try to wiggle out of it, but I guess she knew I had everything now. When she arrived, I didn't waste time. I laid out the evidence, showed her the texts, the photos, everything I'd collected. Her face twisted into a sneer. "You're crazy," she said. "You're just jealous. You've always been insecure." That little manipulative laugh she threw in there made my stomach turn. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "No, Lisa, I'm done. I found out about the hotel, about Jake, about everything. I know you lied to me from the start. I trusted you and you threw that trust in the trash. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm not stupid anymore." She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Oh, so now I'm the bad guy. You're the one who's been acting weird, accusing me of stuff I didn't do. Maybe you're the one cheating on me, hiding things, lying to my face all the time." That's when I lost it. All my anger, all my pain exploded out of me. I told her she was a fucking liar, a manipulative bitch, and that I was done with her games. I said she could pack her things, and I meant it. No more excuses, no more bullshit, just the brutal truth. I told her I never wanted to see her again, that she was dead to me. She stared at me, her smirk fading into a look of pure fury. "Fine," she spat. "Go ahead and ruin everything, but you'll regret this. I'm better off without your stupid ass anyway." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. In that moment, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I finally had the truth, and I'd taken my power back. But it also hurt like hell knowing I'd lost someone I thought was my partner. I was angry at myself for trusting her, for believing she cared. And I was furious at her for lying, for sneaking around, for treating our relationship like trash. I knew I had a choice now. I could try to forgive her, forget everything, and pretend it never happened. But deep down, I knew I couldn't. I'd been betrayed in the worst way. My trust was shattered, and I didn't think I could ever rebuild it. The only thing left was the decision I had to make, whether to cut her out of my life completely or try to move past it. Honestly, I didn't feel like I had it in me to forgive her. Not after all this. That night, I sat alone in my house, staring at the walls, trying to figure out what I'd do next. I realized that I deserved better than someone who lied and cheated and manipulated her way through our relationship. I deserved someone who was honest, who valued me, who didn't treat me like an afterthought. And I knew I had to take real action, whether that was fighting for myself, seeking revenge, or walking away and starting over. Whatever I chose, I wasn't going to let her ruin my life anymore. I was done playing her game. It was time to rebuild myself piece by piece. In the days that followed, I made a decision. I didn't want her back, and I sure as hell didn't want to keep pretending everything was okay. I knew I had to cut her out of my life completely. I started packing her things, feeling a strange mix of relief and heartbreak in every box I filled. It was like finally shedding the weight of her betrayal, but at the same time, realizing I was really losing someone I once loved. I also reached out to my close friends, people I trusted, who knew about us and told them everything. I wanted support, yes, but I also wanted to be honest. The reaction was what I expected: shock, anger, and a lot of "you deserve better." Maybe some people would say I was a fool for trusting her in the first place, but I don't regret loving her. I just regret not seeing through her sooner. I took some time off work to clear my head. I needed space from everything: her, the memories, the pain. It was a long, painful process, but with each day I felt a little stronger. I kept telling myself I deserved better than a manipulative, bitchy woman who lied and cheated her way through our relationship. Eventually, I decided to move out of our apartment. I couldn't stay in a place that held so many memories of her lies. I found a small apartment nearby, a fresh start. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Slowly, I began to rebuild my life, focusing on myself, on healing, on figuring out what I actually want from a relationship. Looking back, I realize I learned a lot from this nightmare. I learned that no matter how much you trust someone, you should always keep a part of yourself guarded. That bitchy attitude she had was just her way of hiding the truth, of controlling the narrative. I learned to listen to my gut, even when it feels like you're overreacting, because sometimes your instincts are right. And most of all, I learned that I don't need someone who manipulates, lies, and treats me like I'm nothing. This whole experience has changed me, made me more cautious, more aware, but also more determined to never let myself be blindsided again. I'm not perfect, and I still feel the pain sometimes, but I know I'll get through it. I'll find someone who's honest, who respects me, who values what I bring to the table, because I deserve that much. So, to anyone out there going through something similar, trust yourself. Don't ignore those warning signs, even if they're inconvenient or uncomfortable. And never accept being lied to or manipulated just because you love someone. Because in the end, loving yourself is the most important thing you can do. I lost her, but I gained a new sense of strength, and that's something I'll carry with me forever.